We're making bread today. Haven't done it in a while. We have some dough.
So the baguette is...
Okay.
I know how baguette is.
You've lived in Paris.
No, I was eating baguette.
Yeah.
Tradition.
It's gonna be turned into pretzel buns, or as we Germans call them, Laugenbrötchen.
I was gonna say it's very singer-songy, but okay. Okay.
Singularity, working title, is slowly and steadily oozing into production. Ooze sounds weird. Rick is doing his amazing kid character rigging project. Next week, Julian and Vivian are going to be working on that. So we won't quite enter the concept art phase for Singularity yet. Last week, we had the question, are we just going to do the same thing as before in the most recent projects where our characters and the renderings are very stylized. So we're going to animate the characters on 2s, 12 FPS, and the movie plays out in 24 FPS. So all the camera moves are 24 FPS, effects are a mixture of 12 FPS and 24 FPS. Characters are more snappy. Or are we going to do it more expensive, as in Disney animation, which is more fluid?
I've been doing some work on Singularity, some animation test, 1s and 2s.
With a test model of our main character, jumping from icy rocks to swimming around in space, my focus was to slap some brushstrokes on and rendering it really quick, and then testing whether 1s actually works or the 2s are the better options. And first time I saw the shot on 2s, I was like, damn, on 2s it actually looks better. I wanted to keep an open mind about this because, lots of shows with this sort of 2D style animate on 1s, most prominently Arcane, and it looks great. And I was like, yeah, can we do this kind of painterly effect on 1s? But in our time frame, we have to make some compromises, and 2s just works. I don't know what it is, some special sauce.
Hello, hello.
Yo, what's up?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
You progressing on the
I'm progressing.
storyboard?
Yes. How's your kid doing?
Which kid are you talking about?
I don't know. Which kid are we talking about?
The kid I've created.
You create all of them.
Fair enough. The virtual kid. I've just seen the latest update from Julian and it looks very nice. I'll be going over some minor feedback.
When do you think it's gonna be ready for animation?
Ready for animation? That will be probably the end of June, beginning July. Doing some more rig testing this week. Testing both shape keys and bone deformation together. There's a full sculpted model that is almost ready for expression testing. And then there's the discussion about clothing, especially the shirt. We initially designed it quite loose, but of course, for animation.
That's no bueno. What about the hair?
We will have a discussion next week and see if we can sync up hair tools and hair simulation with this character. But that ideally would also be a hybrid where we animate the hair with bones, and on top of that, simulation can be dialed in.
And he's gonna be with the slippers and the socks.
Yeah.
You're not going to give him like sneakers or something.
No. I had sandals, and I had intentionally socks because I knew otherwise you would get blisters. And then before putting on socks, I would put on like ointment. It's specifically so you survive 30 days of backpacking around Europe.
But then
Sandals
don't wear fucking
and socks.
sandals. If you don't want to walk, don't use sandals. Use proper shoes.
I was trying to find a balancing act where comfort meets... Hey, stop judging me.
In Spain, you wear sandals when you are like going with your friends and you're gonna be chilling. You wear sandals. You go to the swimming pool. You wear sandals. If you're gonna backpacking, you don't wear sandals. Why? Because your feet are gonna get fucked up.
You don't understand about childhood.
Dude,
You don't
it's true, I
understand.
never had one. I grew up already with a beer and animated. These guys, fucking North Europeans, don't know anything about life. We kids in the poor Mediterranean countries, we had it tough.
Andy gave me a task to look into the different crystal formations and structures, and he gave me a lot of reference images that are quite interesting. I'm currently working on the proportions to the critter. So there's a structure of 75 meters and 25, and how does that feel, and how are the different crystal formations, how are they assembled? I already noticed something that, like rendering glass is really fun in stills, but this is going to be an animated movie, so with glass we need our own probably like glass optimized shader or something because it's so heavy. I'm also experimenting with different more symmetrical structures, like a star shape, but then on all axes. So it's, I don't know, it's like how you call that weapon? Not a mace, but the one with the little knot. You know which one I mean? With the chain and it doesn't matter. Anyway, the shape itself is quite symmetrical, but adding all these different crystal formations on top and make it feel organic is something I wanted to try out. Might be cool, might be interesting.
When we finished Project Gold, it was really sad that we didn't do a short film using this brush stroke style. So back then I was already thinking about making a film using the existing brushstroke rendering tools that we developed before. Slightly different style, of course. We won't follow the oil painting paradigm. We're going to be a little bit more loose with the style, slightly more abstract in places and slightly less adherent to physical media. So are we going to create new brush styles or figure out something completely new? I don't know yet. We're definitely gonna make some new brushes, I'm pretty sure. And also, not everything is going to be brush strokes as with gold. We don't want to plaster brush strokes on top of everything. That was the big problem in the past. Just too many thick layers that alter the model and give some problems with rendering and that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can figure out some hybrid workflows where we actually use more scanned textures and combine that with the brush strokes. And we had some discussions this week already on when to start testing effects and how to plan out the different effects for this film. Effects meaning there will be certain environmental things, particles, swarms of creatures, general space stuff, exploding suns, and massive black holes in space. We need to figure out when are we going to start developing the effects, doing R&D for them, how sustainable is it to do effects for the film, because currently every shot is an effects shot, which is a little bit daunting. But we'll get to it.
Since Dogwalk is wrapped, I've been picking up a little bit of crumbs of bug fixes on Dogwalk here and there, but I've kept that to a minimum. For Singularity, I'm starting with some effects work that is kind of independent of design and everything, because it would be nice to already start working on some of the more technical setups that we know we'll need. So I'm going to work on some simulation of crowds and just particles in the background, which is something we're going to have in almost every shot. Besides that, I've been kind of bouncing around between different other topics. One thing is that there is an Italian studio that has signed up to a Teams membership at the Blender studio, and they wanted some of my time to help them out setting up a pipeline for them for shading and rendering with some of the setups that we made for Cowboy. I jumped in, made some adjustments, and made sure that they can actually use it for their production. I had some back and forth with them, some calls to help them out. That's been going great. Besides that, I've done a lot of pull request testing because Jacques has been relentlessly adding more and more UX features to geometry nodes or nodes in general. So I've been trying to keep up with that, giving feedback. A lot of that is already merged into Blender 4.5, so that's going to be in the release.
In the meantime, I'm being scheduled to storyboard Cowboy. I mean, I did a kind of a storyboard already. I want to put like cameras in a real environment 3D set, so it's gonna be kind of like mix 2D, 3D layout. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Hey Pablito, you know what your friends should do?
Hey, people, here at this studio, there's a lot of people working. It's not free, yeah? This costs money, you know, this.
It's sort of the same thing from a Patreon, where you have a particular creator that does a certain thing and you want to financially support them. It actually costs a lot of money for being able to keep doing this, And we have quite a solid team of artists and developers. Everyone who's working here is quite generalistic in their approach. Like every project that we've been doing in the past many years, we're always chasing a different style, or in this case even a completely different medium. That takes quite an adaptable team to keep doing that. And all of that keeps going also into the Blender project itself. All the bugs that we're reporting, all the feedback that we're giving on new features that we're testing, that is heavily dependent on people supporting us for what we're doing.
If you really want my kids to survive in this world, we need money. So guys, consider to sign up for the membership at the studio.blender.org.
We're trying to give people more value.
That will help us to continue the hard work we are doing.
So please subscribe.